everyone, I'm Connie Roberts.
And I'm Jim Skakoza.
Welcome to Pocono Landscape Challenge. We have an exciting project happening.
Well, this is going to be a good one. Now, it's a warm, hot, sunny day now, but imagine it's wintertime, it's cold, it's dreary, you got 12 or 14 inches of snow, and you're not going to have to shovel.
I can't wait to learn more.
We've got the solution.
Well, Jim, I see the project has begun.
We're underway, yes, and let me give you a little brief rundown of what we're doing here on this project. So this is an owner-occupied property, and they also have a couple of apartments on the property. So there's a lot of hardscape and a lot of maintenance in terms of shoveling and cleaning the hardscape in the wintertime and stuff. So they really came to us with a desire to eliminate as much of that work as possible. So what we've done is there was some pre-existing paving and stuff in this area. They really wanted to eliminate the shoveling entirely. So what we're doing is we're putting in a radiant heat system under the new pavers that we're going to be putting in. So basically there'll be a sensor in the ground, and when it starts to snow, the heat will come on, it'll heat the pavers, melt the snow, no shoveling.
Which I hate.
Yeah, right? So come on, let's go in, I'll take you a closer look.
All right.
All right, so Connie, let me just explain a few things to you. You can see we've already dug this down. If you look over there at the door threshold, we've dug it down to the proper grade, and we've already established some of our base material. There was some material here that we were able to use because there was paving here before, but we needed to make sure we had the proper depth, and more critically is we need to make sure we have this as close to grade, as even grade as possible, because our tolerance, the heating cables or coils that we're going to run here are actually set in the sand bed, and the sand bed is only 1.5 inches, and then the pavers go on top of that. So we have to make sure that the base material is relatively level and smooth, because we don't have a lot of tolerance, because the piping is about 5/8 of an inch thick, and then we have the sand on top of that. So we've got to make sure everything's really close. So we spent a lot of time here setting and shooting grades, making sure that we have the proper pitch away from the house into the parking space, which is going to be paved at the end of the project. And it's coming together nice, but it's quite a bit of detail work, but it's absolutely critical that we really take the time and do this right.
The crew removes some of the old material before they can start laying a new base. They also work on installing new features like 2 pillars and adding a new planting bed around existing plants.
Jim, I saw the guys putting the curbing in around the planting beds, but they look a little heavy.
Yeah, those are individually about 200 pounds apiece. So you can see the guys struggled a little bit with them to set them in place. But what we wanted to do was break up the space a little bit with some green space, some plantings. There were some spaces here originally, and we're just recreating some of that space. So it's not just all paved area. So that they had to put established in there. As you can see, we have 2 new pillars going over there that anchor the entry into the main part of the structure. So they set those pillars in there. And now what we're doing is we're laying down, if you look closely at this, it's like a foil. It's almost like a foil bubble wrap, if you think of bubble wrap. But it's a foil product, and what that does, it reflects the heating that's coming through the tubing that will be laid in here. And instead of having to go down into the ground, it's going to reflect it back up into the pavers, so it melts the snow.
Nice.
Yeah. So that goes down first after we set our grades, and we got all our grades at the proper elevation. We got our pitch the way it should be. It's all compacted. And then we put down the foil wrap, we tape it all up, and then you can see there's some wire grid on there. That gets laid on top of the foil. Now the wire grid is what we use to attach the actual heating cables or coils to keep them in place so they have the proper spacing so it heats evenly once the heat is turned on. So they'll get strapped to that metal grid basically.
K&B Plumbing, Electrical, and HVAC is putting in the snow melting system.
There's a supply line and a return line, so the tubing goes out, heats the area, and then returns, and then is reheated and sent back out. The thermostat kicks on, and then what happens is it starts to circulate and warm the pavers up, and then melts the snow away.
The first step is to install all of the tubing in the grid that will carry the glycol solution, which will heat up and melt the snow. Measurements for this heating grid are critical in order for it to work correctly, so the crew takes extra time to make it right. Up next, pavers are now being installed over the heating grid.
First Northern Bank & Trust has deep roots in our community. Chartered 100 years ago, First Northern Bank & Trust has grown to 11 branches in the Poconos and Lehigh Valley. Longtime bank employees take pride and pleasure in providing a broad range of services to generations of customers. Today, First Northern Bank & Trust offers the latest in banking technology like remote deposits and online banking. For personal and business banking accounts and loans, contact First Northern Bank & Trust. Equal housing lender. Member FDIC.
Isn't it time for you to start enjoying your backyard just like you see in the magazines and on TV? Hi, I'm Jim Skakoza from Chestnut Hill Nursery, and we're here to help. For over 40 years, we've been creating beautiful landscapes for folks just like you. You can count on us to build it right the first time and create a long-lasting project that'll provide a lifetime of memories. Imagine a new patio, fire pit, or outdoor kitchen. Then complete the scene with amazing outdoor audio and lighting. Together we can dream it, design it, and our expert team can build it. So go to chnursery.com to set up your free consultation. Make this the season you turn those dreams into reality. Start planning that first party now.
Jim, I guess we're ready for the next phase here, and maybe we should talk about what it took to get to
Yeah, we can do a little recap here real quickly. So remember, this whole concept is to create a hydronic heating system within the paver area, paver walkway that we're building. And that's going to melt the snow in the winter times, like we talked about. So if we look here, it's a great opportunity to really see the multiple layers of what's happening.
Okay.
So we have, after we establish our base, we put down our foil, okay, which is going to reflect the heat up so it doesn't go down into the base material.
Right.
These are our hydronic tubing,
Right.
and so the hot water will flow through these tubes, and that's going to heat up the mass. And the mass consists of the base sand that we put in here, and you can see how the tubing is actually set inside the sand. And then we do our grade and we set our pavers on top. So what happens is you've got a heat barrier here. These are all heated, okay? And then that heat will just rise at that point, come up through the pavers and keep them nice and warm so the snow won't accumulate.
That is super cool.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Jim, how are these tubes attached to the ground here?
Well, it's important to keep everything tightened together, and the tubing is not particularly flexible because it's a pretty thick tubing. So what we needed to do is put this wire grid down, and then what we do is we do wire ties, plastic wire ties, and attach it permanently to the grid so these tubes are not going to move. It was also critical to have, because of the design of the project, to have the proper spacing between here, so we don't have any cold areas in the pavers. So that's the way that we can lay out the tubing in the proper order according to the design, keep the proper spacing, and attach it to the wire grid so it's not going to move.
Jim, why is this area still exposed?
Well, that's a good question. So you can see that all this hydronic tubing goes into the house here at this point, and that'll go to the boiler, okay? But it's really important about controls as well. So we won't want to run the boiler and heat the system more than we need to. So there's two sensors that go into the system. One is going to sense the temperature of the pavers, and the other one's going to be an air sensor. So when it begins to snow, it'll anticipate the snow level and humidity and turn it on automatically. And when it comes up at the temperature, this one's going to turn it off.
Nice.
So you never have to worry about it running more than it should. So we still have to install our sensor out into this area. That's why it's still exposed.
Now that the heating grid is installed, work to finish the paver walkway is now moving full steam ahead.
Jim, I see you use a couple of different materials here. How
Sure.
come?
Well, we did want to create some borders, and we used a big, large slab stone called borealis for our border for the beds. There's going to be some plantings here and down at the opposite end there where the other bed exists as well. And the other thing we really like to do is to create a little bit of an interest. Again, this is kind of a homeowner occupied rental property. So we use different patterns. It's basically the same stone. This is blue 60 and it has, it's a random herringbone, but we put it on a bias here, meaning it's on this 45-degree angle. So visually it really draws you into the door.
Right.
And same thing when you're coming out, it brings you out into the parking space. But we wanted to change it up a little bit. And from here on down, we just use a straight 6x13 in a running bond pattern going across, and you can see how it just changes up at this point. And then in the far distance, there's another patio down there for that apartment, and we turn the blue 60 on a bias as well. So together, it really makes a nice scene. It connects everything really well, but at the same time, it kind of segregates the areas just a little bit.
Nice, I really like it.
Yeah.
Jim, what's happening with all these wires here?
Well, today we're doing all the final touches. We're gonna wrap this project up today. And so what the fellows are doing at this point in time is they're starting to put together all the lighting. Remember, we laid out all that conduit initially when we were doing all our base work for the lighting, and as well as some of the other factors that might go in here in the future. We talked about possibility of putting a all-home generator, complete home generator. So this is some of the wiring that they're placing through the conduit that's been installed already. As you can see, remember, we use that Coastal Source product, and everything is plug and play, twisted together, never have an issue with the connections. You can see how heavy duty this is. So now these pillars will actually get, this pillar and the other one will get one more course of block, and then they'll have a light here and a light here. This is our undercap lip light, we call it.
Right.
And this will just put a little bit of a glow down on the base there. Let's see if we can get that out of that packaging. There we go. Doesn't look like much in the package, but basically this will be laid like this on the block, okay? And then the cap will go on top of that. And this will give a nice little glow of light down on the bottom there.
Nice.
So that all gets connected with this wiring. It's all specialized wiring. This continues from the pillars. There's path lights in the planting bed over here. We have some specialty lights underneath the deck area here to light the underneath, and some more path lights and some more lip lights down there. So they're connecting all that. Now once they're done with that, then we're going to go back in, finish cleaning up our beds, and the final touch today would just be checking all our cuts before they come in and put in the new polymeric sand and finish the project.
I always like the finishing part of
It's
it.
going to look awesome when it's all done.
While the crew puts the finishing touches on this job, Jim and Connie visit another project. Up next, see a waterfall installed in a swimming pool.
Joining me now is Kevin Berry of KMB Plumbing and Electrical, and we're here to talk about heating systems, Navian. Let's tell people about, they could use it for their business or their home.
Yes, Navian instantaneous hot water heaters can be used in residential or commercial applications. These units were installed in a 137-bed facility nursing home.
What makes this system different than others?
This is a system where you're only paying for what you use on the water. In a normal residential home or business, they're using electric water heaters, which you're constantly paying for to keep that water warm.
Now we're in a nursing facility here. What did you do here?
We removed the 20,000-gallon electric water heater that would constantly reheat the water, and their electric bills were through the roof. And we put in 11 Navians in their place.
Now, there's a lot of Navians here. Why did you need so many?
Because of their demand and their usage that they need for water and for cleaning and for laundry. The units are designed where there's one master unit and the rest are slaves. So as they need more demand, they ramp up and start another unit, and it continues on until their needs are satisfied.
Now, there's more to the Navian system. This is for on-demand heating the water. What about the other part of it?
Navian does make a unit that'll do domestic hot water and do your heating system also. It's called a combi unit.
And how does that work?
It'll actually, if you have like hot water baseboard in your home, it'll take the place of your boiler in your basement, and then you'll do the same thing. It will only heat and use as much gas as you need. So the energy efficiency is way up.
So people who are thinking, oh, I have a large home, what would you suggest that they should do to keep their costs down?
Obviously look into Navian water heaters because it's on demand use. It's not something that they're storing, and we can design a system for them and lay it out for as large or as small as they have.
Now, one of the unique things about the Navien system is it's neat and clean. I gotta tell you, this looks beautiful in here for the amount of how many units that are here. In people's homes, what does it do for them? It gets rid of their water tank.
Correct. It gets rid of their electric hot water heater that they're constantly storing water and paying that bill over and over again for that same water.
So that big tanks, they're out, and you have this small unit on your wall.
Small unit on the wall. It vents out relatively easily.
This is an on-demand. When you need it, you get it, no matter
Correct.
where it's at,
Correct.
in your commercial business or your home.
Correct.
Let's explain that.
These have recirculation loops on them, so you have constant hot water to your faucets at all times. This facility needed it because it is a nursing facility. They're doing approximately 500 people a day.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Kevin, if people want more information on this system, what should we tell them?
You can contact us either on the web at kmb_pe@yahoo.com or kmbplumbing.com, or you can call us direct at 570-460-0111.
What's happening?
It's about time you show up.
I need my beauty sleep, you know.
So how's this for a fun project?
This looks awesome. I was surprised to come behind the house and see all of this.
Right.
This is beautiful.
Right. Yeah, this is a project that actually got started last year. They put the pool in late last season, and then we did some preliminary work, and then we've come back this spring and just kind of done some more of the patio scaping and the hardscaping and the planting and stuff. This is the real feature, though. The pool's here, and we're building a waterfall that's going to go right into the pool.
That's
It's gonna be
exciting.
really kind of cool. So we're going to build this feature about 3 or 4 foot high here, and it's going to be fairly wider than what you see because we're just getting started here now. But it's going to be really cool because we're going to have all this water flowing down off the natural stone and down into the pool as you're swimming in the pool. So what we've done, we've accumulated a source of boulders that really kind of match the color scheme in here. And little by little, we're going to build this all up. And what the pool contractor did for us last year is they plumbed in, and I'll walk here, plumbed in this pipe. So this is actually going to get plumbed right from the pool pump. So as they run the pool, the water comes through here over our waterfall and into the
Nice.
pool. Isn't that cool?
Awesome. That's really cool.
We had to do a little preliminary work. You see, we had to pour this concrete pad here. So we didn't want, as we build the boulders up and we do our planting bed behind here, we didn't want this to settle over time.
Right.
So that 3 foot deck that comes with the pool really wasn't adequate, so we added some more space down here. So now it's just really about playing with the rocks and with mortar and with piping and getting everything to flow properly, but it's going to be fun.
The crew works to place each stone properly. They inspect each one to see how it will fit into the waterfall.
Well, this is day 2 on this water feature. It's looking great so far, Jim.
Yeah, it's really starting to come together now. It's a little bit of work in progress. You know, this is not something, it's not a kit that we just kind of throw together. We basically bring over a whole assortment of boulders that we think we can use in the scheme of what we're doing here. And then they kind of look at each individual boulder as they're building this and determine what's the best fit, you know, what's the best boulder to put in this spot, how we create that. We take the boulders and we wash them off, we clean them up real good, and then we set them in and make sure they're going to work for where we ultimately want to be in terms of the water run and the height, and there's also the width, and make sure it's in scale with the rest of the property here and the pool project. So,
Well, with the natural rocks, you get what you get and you don't get upset because it's natural beauty, but you guys always do a good job.
that's true, it's natural product, you know, so we have to kind of work with what nature's given us. We have an assortment to choose from, and hopefully we're, you know, choosing the right pieces and fitting them all together so the end result is really going to be spectacular. But it's a slow process, and it's a matter of really trying to find the right rock and creating that spillway. I'm standing in the main spillway here now, okay? This is where most of the water flow is going to fall off into the pool. Now, one of the other things that we have to kind of really consider as we're doing this, we really want to give it the ultimate experience. And by that I mean we're going to not just have the sound of the water, the view of the water, but we want to be able to see it happening at night. So part of what we're doing is incorporating some exciting new landscape lighting into this feature. Here's a product that we're using now. It's called the little niche light, and it's all brass fixture. The nice thing about this, you know, we're doing everything now is LED. So you no more replacing bulbs and doing all that kind of stuff. This particular fixture is what they call totally potted into the fixture. There's no bulb in there.
Oh, wow.
That's just a little LED element
Okay.
that lights up. And we put this escutcheon on the top of this like this here. And what this is going to do, there's a little cutout, and it gives us a 90-degree angle of light. Now, what we want to try to do is we want to try to hit some of the boulders with lights to give it that real sharp effect. But we also want to get close into where the water's spilling. So what we've done here, if you look down here, see this piece of conduit we put in here?
Yes.
Now this will get cut back. Ultimately what happens is this light will fit inside this conduit. You see there's like a little rubber bushing on there?
Yeah.
And we just snap that in place, and that's going to wind up sitting right here and spilling this light right across the face of the rock as the water's coming off of it.
Oh, okay, nice.
Very cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got some great new fixtures that we're working with now that let us be even more creative with the lighting that we do. But that's just part of the project, but we have to think about that as we're building this, so we have the pieces that we need in place when we're all done.
I can't wait to see it when it's done.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
Over the course of several days, the crew interlocks each stone, making sure they get the look they're going for, until finally it is done.
Well, I see you found your natural environment, huh? It's time to do some work. Come on, I want to show you what we did with this waterfall.
Okay. That was so comfy. Wow, Jim, I don't see this often.
So this is our finished masterpiece. We went through the whole process of how this came about. Homeowners really wanted to have a waterfall into their new pool. So I said, sure, we could do that. Right? So we gathered up some local material and we had it all sorted out here, and then we did all our plumbing. The original pool contractor had stubbed up a 2-inch line for us that feeds off the same pump that drives the pool, so it worked out really nice. And we have some controls in the back, so you can literally control the flow of the water. But ultimately, every one of these obviously is unique, and so the guys really did a great job of working with the product, the stone that we had, the natural stone, making it all fit together, and getting multiple flows of water so it came down in a nice sheet into the pool.
It has a nice sound, it's
Yeah.
pretty, it seems like it just fits in here like it belongs here.
Yeah, they love it, and from what I hear, the kids are actually jumping off of it too. So, but this is only part of the whole landscape package that we did here. We did the patio, and we did some plantings, and actually a multi-level area in the patio. Really came out together really nicely.
I like it, it's beautiful.
Thanks.
Still ahead, we go back to the heated patio project to see how it turned out.
Isn't it time for you to start enjoying your backyard just like you see in the magazines and on TV? Hi, I'm Jim Skakoza from Chestnut Hill Nursery, and we're here to help. For over 40 years, we've been creating beautiful landscapes for folks just like you. You can count on us to build it right the first time and create a long-lasting project that'll provide a lifetime of memories. Imagine a new patio, fire pit, or outdoor kitchen. Then complete the scene with amazing outdoor audio and lighting. Together we can dream it, design it, and our expert team can build it. So go to chnursery.com to set up your free consultation. Make this the season you turn those dreams into reality. Start planning that first party now.
First Northern Bank and Trust has deep roots in our community. Chartered 100 years ago, First Northern Bank and Trust has grown to 11 branches in the Poconos and Lehigh Valley. Longtime bank employees take pride and pleasure in providing a broad range of services to generations of customers. Today, First Northern Bank and Trust offers the latest in banking technology like remote deposits and online banking. For personal and business banking accounts and loans, contact First Northern Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Jim, the crew did a spectacular job. Maybe we should remind the viewers what this looked like before.
Good idea. So this really all came together very well. Prior to us doing the work here, just to give you a little history, remember this property is homeowner occupied, but there's also some apartments here. And they really wanted to make some improvements here on the property. Originally there were some pavers here, just some gray slate pavers. There were some brick pavers. It was kind of a little bit of a mash-up of materials here, yeah, actually. There was some old fencing down the other end there, screen fencing that came down. So what they wanted to do was try to bring everything together in a nice uniform package. All right, so what we did is we chose to use this particular paver, and remember when we talked about how we laid this out and how we changed up the patterns a little bit. It's basically the same paver, but we used some different sizes and we changed the pattern up, but it still gives that sense of consistency throughout the entire area. The other thing that we did is when you look across here, we set up some of the planting spaces and we used that curb block to get some nice foundation to make sure that we can contain that space real well. It also contains our pavers along that edge.
That was a heavy product.
Yeah, it really was. You know, we added some really nice entry pillars both here and down at the far end.
I love those.
And we did a nice little curve coming in. So this is the homeowner's side of the property. So this would really invite people in here. Now remember, the drive here was not only to improve the property, but also to eliminate some maintenance. And one of the big things was having to remove snow in the wintertime for the homeowner. So we opted to put in here a heating system underneath here, like we talked about earlier. So basically, as before we laid our pavers down here, we laid that grid of metal. We had the aluminum insulation blanket that we put down first, and we had our metal grid, then we put all our tubing down. And as you recall, all the tubing kind of went into this area here. Behind this wall is basically where the boiler room is. So all the tubing goes in there, gets connected to a brand new heating system. We have a sensor in the ground over there that's going to tell it when to turn on and off based on the snow load, etc. And ultimately what it's going to do is eliminate having to do any shoveling here in this space.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Which is pretty awesome, really. It's a lot of space. Given the past couple winters that we've had, the homeowners were kind of tired of shoveling and said, you know what, we really want to put some heating in here. So that's what we've done in this project. So I can't wait to see how that works once the weather changes here. So we also added in some landscape lighting. You know, we still have some lighting in our pillars. We have some nice path lights along the path here. There's also another light over there I'm going to show you momentarily that does a really nice job of lighting up the entryway. So let's take a walk down here.
Okay.
So as we walk down here, you can see the pattern has changed here in this space, and then it changes up again at the far end. And we have some of our path lights here, which in the evening really puts a nice glow down here. And one of the neat pictures that we have here, we put up here, this is one of our niche lights.
Oh, neat.
And what it does is it just puts a really nice warm glow right in this space here, which is the entry for this tenant to come in off the parking area. And it works out really beautiful at night. It's really pretty cool. And you don't even see the fixture, which is great. And we have a couple more of the path lights here. And then we come into our new space here. And what do you think?
I think it looks great. Jim, this has actually been an interesting project. It's been a little different.
Yeah, a little different from what we typically do in that it's a multi-family home. And so one of the challenges here for us was to try to create a unified space, but at the same token, give everybody their own space, so to speak.
Right.
And I think we accomplished that by creating some of the walls we built and changing up the pattern in this area. So everybody feels like this is their own part of this, but yet we're all part of the same community here.
And the best part about this job is you don't have to shovel.
That is true. It's going to be very exciting for the homeowners. So listen, you know, if you've got a project in your space that you'd like for us to take a look at, we'd be happy to come and visit with you. Give us a call or just visit us on the web at chnursery.com.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time right here.
What we have here is oh God, what do we have here?
Lots of stuff to do. Well, the crew has been, well, the food, I'm hungry. Jim, the crew did a fantastic job here. I really liked, wait, let's do that again. Maybe we should remind the viewers of what it looked like before. That was like way off. All right, sorry. All right, I'm getting serious now.